Hello! Today we're going to answer the question, how do food webs, food chains, and trophic levels connect to each other and the flow of energy? This is a food web. And this is a food chain. So what's the difference between a food web and a food chain? I'll give you a second. Food chains are made of one chain, while food webs are made of multiple chains, with the producers in the center. To recap, food webs show many connected food chains, while food chains show how organisms get their energy by eating food. Food chains are made of many trophic levels. The word trophic comes from the word trophe, which is Greek for food. Trophic levels are based on their spot in the food chain and how organisms get their energy. Producers get their energy directly from the sun through a process known as photosynthesis. Examples are algae, grass and plankton, etc. They are found at the start of every food chain. Primary consumers get their energy by eating plants like a bunny, a snail, krill, etc. They are all herbivores, aka vegetarian, and they are found one step away from the producers. Secondary consumers get their energy by eating primary consumers like a rat or a frog. They are all carnivores and also includes omnivores. They are 2 steps away from producers. Tertiary consumers get their energy by eating secondary consumers. They are all top predators like fox, hawks, sharks, etc. They are found 3 steps away from the producers. Quaternary consumers get their energy by eating tertiary consumers in big ecosystems. Examples of these are like killer whales or polar bears. They'd be found 4 steps away from producers. Knowing all that, what's the trophic level of a deer? I'll give you a second. Well, they're herbivores, so they're primary consumers. Another question, what's the trophic level of a human? I'll give you a second to think about that. Well, humans are omnivores, which means we eat meat and plants, so that would most likely put us as secondary consumers. One more question. Why do consumers need to eat? This is a hard one. The answer is energy. All organisms need energy to move, to grow, or reproduce. They use it to repair and to think. Humans use 30% of their energy just to keep their brain going. However, most energy is lost as heat. Only a tiny bit, 10%, moves up to the next trophic level. Since producers do photosynthesis, they have the most amount of energy. And since primary consumers eat them, they have the second most. Top levels like tertiary and secondary and even quaternary consumers have the least amount of energy. This is one of the main reasons why top trophic levels like tertiary and quaternary have very small populations. If we put all the energy found in each trophic level in a rectangular box, producers would have the largest box. However, since only 10% of that energy goes to the primary consumers, they have a much smaller box. And since only 10% of that energy goes up to the next trophic level, secondary consumers have a much smaller box. And since 10% of that energy goes up to the next level, tertiary consumers have an even smaller box. And since 10% of that energy goes up to the next level, quaternary consumers have a tiny, tiny little box. At each step, energy is being lost as heat, so that means quaternary and tertiary consumers get a tiny, tiny little bit of energy. That is why in the Serengeti, there's only 3,000 lions, while there's over 1 million wildebeest, which are all herbivores and are primary consumers. Even though lions have a small population, they have a huge impact on the Serengeti ecosystem. Though all top predators have small populations, removing them from or introducing them to an ecosystem will have a huge impact, known as a trophic cascade. In a trophic cascade, changing the population of the top predators will change the populations of the secondary consumers, the primary consumers, and even the producers. This will cause changes in the environment as well. Examples of this include the wolves being introduced in Yellowstone parks or the return of otters in the northern Pacific Ocean. Now let's complete this diagram. You can use your notes to fill in all the blanks. For example, we put energy on this arrow, and then we put grass and algae as examples. Producers and primary consumers are herbivores. Once you're done, you can use your completed diagram to write a summary paragraph answering the question, how do food webs, food chains, and trophic levels connect to each other and the flow of energy? And that's it for today. See you next time. Bye!